Today's guests are Nick and Zach, who built a $1.5 million pressure washing business out of their parents' basement in under 2 years. They decided not to take the traditional path of going to college, but instead built their business from the ground up with no handouts. And today, we're gonna hear how they did it. So, Nick and Zach, we're here. We're here in the Bat Cave, in this lair, and we're gonna hear your story. So, walk me through your journey. How did you guys actually start? Like, where did your first money come from and like your idea? Just walk me through your journey.
Yeah, well, thank you for just having us here.
Yeah.
It's just so awesome just to connect with kids our age. Entrepreneurship is tough. Just being through 2 years in business, we're learning a lot. So just to even have the opportunity to come here, just want to say thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you. Seriously.
There's not a lot of young guys our age who are building businesses from scratch, but also even doing hard work to make money. And that's what industry we're in, blue collar. So yeah. How did you guys end up in this industry? How did you get started?
Actually, Zach's idea.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And honestly, I have to try to really focus in and reflect on like how we ended up doing this, because it's kind of not something you really think about what you're doing, especially at like, I feel like an age like 21 or even younger at the time. It's just something you start doing. And at the time though, we did need money because we're super involved in hockey. And our coach actually decided to, it was the rink's really decision, but decided to have to kind of charge for the lessons. And we were just looking for money. Really, that's how it started.
Yeah, we played hockey growing up, and we played high school hockey together. So we had the same interests, and that we kind of got along. Yeah, you know how it is growing up with your brother.
Yeah,
fights,
yeah.
You're just being guys. And yeah, just like Zach said, we were playing hockey. We couldn't afford the lessons once they started charging us. And Zach went ahead. He said, what can we do to make money? Because we were both going to go into college. Zach was going to community college. I was going to go travel up to school. And he found this pressure washer. I wasn't good at mowing lawns.
Where did you find the pressure washer?
Where was it? The garage?
It was in our garage. I like instantly went home because we were on the way back from a hockey lesson, and I got that text afterward. We went right to my garage. We're like, we got to make something kind of funny. Like, I'm not having my dad start paying for my lessons.
It was this old Simpson black pressure washer.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't even think the thing was going to turn on. Last time we used it was in the winter. You're not supposed to run that machine in the winter. My dad made me watch him clean the patio. Yeah.
Wait, so how did you guys even know of this opportunity? How did you know that people were gonna pay you to do pressure washing? And like, you found a pressure washer, but like, yeah, what happened from there?
I think it must have been at the time where all you were seeing is just like power washing reels, and maybe it was just my feed of like the satisfying, like you could make $300 an hour like cleaning someone's walkway. And I was like, this gotta be it. I could do an hour and be good for a week.
And you know how just like you're in the same house with somebody, like your feed becomes their feed? That's what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, so like he was just scrolling those like side hustle reels, and then it started showing up on your feed, and then you guys were like on the same page.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And then Ralph came to play. Remember that?
Yeah, our neighbor Ralph. He was our first job.
Yeah.
Ralph was a neighbor we're kind of close with. We'd mow his lawn like every so often.
Yeah.
And when we had the idea for power washing, first idea is like, we gotta ask Ralph. So
that's good.
He's the last guy that paid us. I think he paid us by the day, and we were just happy to get like $100 or something. Like, we were cleaning his gutters with gutter guards on. Impossible, by the way.
Yeah. Because like when you first start, like when I first started, my mind was still set at like $20 an hour was the expectation I had with like my income. So like we moved a couch for $100 in under an hour, and we made that much money. And I was like this feels unreal. How is this even possible? So now you guys are doing the pressure washing, and $100 a day seems like crazy, or you know how you started. But like, walk me through the point where like you obviously have this first customer now. You guys are like trying to make money, but how did you like start turning it into a business and like realize that you were going to get more customers? How did you get more customers from there?
That's a great question. And I think the first thing we needed to like figure out is pricing. Just like you said, it's like, all right, like if I'm like, hey, I can work for $20 an hour, but like how long will it take me? And we realized I was quickly like, you're not actually making $20 an hour. So we had to switch that up. But we just started knocking on doors. After that, we asked Ralph, like, hey, is there anyone in the neighborhood or anyone that you know that can possibly use our service, like power washing? And he referred us to a neighbor. We did that neighbor, and then we just found a neighborhood in our town, and we just started knocking doors. So that's kind of how we got like the feet rolling.
Okay.
We just started going door to door, and from there, we just kept going, and we learned and we met people. We learned what no sounded like, and just built us up from there. So we had a group of people that we can call and make some sort of money to put something in our pocket when we were planning to go to school.
So you guys like mentioned that you had to figure out pricing.
Yeah.
You did your first job. Now you're going to take on more clients. But how did you guys start to figure out your pricing in the beginning?
That's a great question. And it's kind of like a gut feeling. Like you'll quote something a certain price.
Yeah, like you know what your time is worth.
Kind
you know
of.
what
Yeah,
you're getting
exactly.
into. Like that's kind of how you started.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you quote something, one number, see if they say yes, kind of thing. And then you quote another number and you kind of raise until it's like, okay, like you kind of know like this size patio, I've charged $50 before they've said yes.
Yeah.
And then eventually at the end of the year, you'd look at it and be like, okay, like we didn't make money. Or
A
we
lot
did.
of it was YouTube too. Like we just Googled like who knows pressure washing, and we found this guy in Texas, and we would just watch him every day, and we watch him, and he would give away his pricing. I think it was like a $5 community, and we were like, wow, now we know what to charge. And just from there and researching and watching YouTube videos, we knew what to charge, and that was our basis. And it just somehow was competitive.
And then like we'll get like other competitors' quotes, and then we look at that and like
Would you like call your competitors and try to figure out their pricing?
we would, yeah.
Yeah, we did that too.
The method on site, because he did all estimates in person. So you would go do the estimate in person, and sometimes you'd be like, hey, like, do you have any other quotes? So like, yeah, I'm getting another quote for somebody else. And that homeowner would show you the quote right there and right in the moment, just one, because you're young, and two, just because you're interested and you want to know where you stand. You don't get taken advantage of. So
How old were you guys when you started, and like what year was that?
this is 2023,
2023?
2023 summer, right?
Yeah, I was 19.
Yeah, I
You
was
were
20,
20?
maybe turning 21.
Okay. How did you kind of start scaling up your customers, finding like consistent work?
Well, Zach drained our bank account first and foremost on lawn signs, but it was a heck of a design.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
when we first started, like obviously like it was the time, it was kind of like a year where it was like a side hustle, like by definition. At the end, we probably ended with like $3,000, and then
Okay.
I decided to spend everything on like lawn signs, literally, and that helped us.
So in your first summer, you guys made like $3,000 each.
Yeah.
And it was still like a side. Did you guys know in that summer that it was gonna be a business that you scaled to this level, or like did you still see it as like a quick little side hustle?
It was just one of those things where I was going to go to college. My brother was going to go to college.
Yeah.
That would just be a great resume builder for your resume. So when you would get a job one day, you'd be like, hey, I did this on the side. This is what we did. We could actually make it profitable. So that's how it started, and that's kind of the vision from there.
Yeah.
Okay. So then after the summer, obviously you decided to like reinvest everything into those yard signs, and now you're starting to look at it more like a business at this time. But what were the next steps in the journey from here?
Next step was getting incorporated. So we got the LLC in 2020.
So you didn't even have an LLC from the
No.
beginning. It's just like a
Yeah.
side hustle. You didn't even know what you're doing. Just
Yeah.
like jump in.
Exactly.
We were
Yeah,
just
well-
putting out lawn signs.
You got the
Without
LLC.
We didn't know it was wrong, but that's what we did.
Okay. And then what happened? So now you're starting to do things right. You're building like a legit business. You know you're building a business. So like what were all the steps that you took from here?
Yeah, so one of the first steps is we got on Google. We figured what's the first place someone goes like when they want power washing, and they just search up. That's what I would do. So we did that, and then we got the lawn signs, and we really just focused on reviews from there.
What was the workflow like here? Like kind of walk me through how you went from side hustle mode to business mode, and when you hired employees, anything like that.
Yeah, so last year, or 2024 now it is, we were getting a bunch of people calling from the lawn signs, and so we were just trying to pick up the phone, do the job, and we also like really quickly got another set of equipment. So he was doing jobs, I was doing jobs, one of us was answering the phone, and
Power washers in our car.
power washers in my
Yeah.
Jeep Grand Cherokee, and then his
I had
Jeep.
I had a Wrangler at the time, so it was just picking it up, throwing it in the back of the truck, and we'd see each other at the end of the day. And that's how busy we got from these lawn signs that nobody was doing at the time. So you drive by Route 10, busy highway, you would just see Gallo Brothers, and two kids show up in it, a car.
Yeah, and then it became like where we ended up picking up the phone. We were then doing the jobs till like 7 p.m. And then we're like, okay, like sun goes down at 7. I need to put out these lawn signs to get more work. Let's take a quick nap, go at 12 a.m., put out lawn signs till 3, and then take another nap, wake up at 7, and do it again. So we were doing that basically like for that 6 months. Like,
So for 6 months, you had that routine. Was that like every day?
it got easier because you get to like a routine of things, and then your body like naturally like you're like it's easier to wake up at 3 a.m. or go to bed back at 3
So like
a.m.
we were still in school too. So he was in community college,
Yeah.
and I was answering the phones. I transferred back home to go to college with him because he's like, hey, we could build this on a resume. So I had my AirPods in, washing houses, taking calls during class because it was just all online class.
Yeah.
And then once school ended, that's where we were just like, hey, let's push the limit. Let's see how much we can do to our bodies and learn. And it was just one of those things too. We played hockey our whole lives. It was one of those things we had to transition and figure out what are we going to do. It's the only thing we knew. We had to take the anger out of somewhere.
When did you know when it was the right time to hire your first employee?
You don't.
For us, it wasn't like super clear. Looking back at it, I should have been like right away. But it was just like you're just trying to keep up at that time. And honestly, like I don't know how seasonal it is. I know you guys are still doing
It's pretty seasonal.
Pretty
but
seasonal.
We still can work in the winter. Do you guys work in the winter?
So for power washing, it's like the spring rush. We get everybody in like April, May, June, and then like leftover gets filled in like July and August. That's how busy it is. It's like, hey, we're out like a month and a half, like we can't service you. So we were just in that rush of going like back and forth. Yeah, we didn't do.
We took the 3 months off. That's what we did. So this is like summer 2024. We got our first truck in June. We realized one of the guys was working on the truck. So we got our first truck, hose reels. That means you didn't have to roll them in by hand. I figured out we started taking on these bigger jobs, right? One guy working in his car, he gets the smaller jobs. Again, one guy with the truck gets the bigger jobs. So we figured out that guy gets tired. So we had to call anybody. One of our friends who was an actor came in. I was like, I just need a body. I need someone to just help me and just help me make my life easier so we get these jobs in and make money. So that was our first hire, and he lasted until he burnt out. So
Yeah. Was he like made for blue collar or just like some
Absolutely.
some random friend? You just needed a guy.
Listen, David, you're a great kid, but I served a purpose. Yeah.
How many employees do you guys have today?
Right now,
yeah.
we probably have like 12, I want to say, 13 maybe.
Yeah. So you guys went from like not even a couple of years ago to now having 12 employees and from 0 employees. So like you went really quickly from side hustle mode to like a pretty serious business here. So just start walking me through the journey and like when you started to realize like each next step in scaling the business from side hustle mode.
Yeah, for sure. So I think wrapping up 2024, just hiring friends and family, you kind of get to a point where it's like, all right, like what's the next level? And that year we took those 3 months off to really be like, all right, like we're going to hire our first real employee. So what are the systems we need to implement? Like what's the training they need to know before they just like show up to someone's house and it's like, you got to clean it. So we did that. We're still working out of our garage. So we got the garage floor like all epoxied. We painted the walls. We took out a lot of my dad's stuff and like put it like in the attic. And we're like, this is going to be our locker room. We got lockers. And then with the chemical tanks, because you have to use like basically bleach to clean houses, we got tanks and we put like racks up for the guns. So it was a pretty nice thing we got going. We were super proud of it.
We laminated paper. We had
we
made it nice. We even bought lockers from Uline, like little tiny ones so you could put the box in.
So this was the beginning of 2025, which was like last year. We hired our first employee. We went to like the diner, Gerardo. Shout out Gerardo because he's still with us today.
Day one.
Day one. He's a day oneer. And Yeah, so we hired him, and then we hired an office lady to take calls because we kept asking ourselves, like, what's going to break first when we go ahead and get a lot of flow? And it was like, one, we're not going to be able to fulfill jobs, and two, we're not going to be able to answer the calls because we're going to be everywhere.
You got to keep in mind, like, one of the biggest reasons why we grew fast is because we divided roles early. The more bats you get, the better you're going to be. We were just told that and we believed it. I was ops. You figure out how to get the jobs done. I'm on the truck. He's doing sales. So all in-person estimates. He's driving around all day and not working. One of the biggest challenges I think we faced was callbacks. When you're trusting family, friends that don't really know what they're doing, they're not blue collar oriented.
Yeah.
They mess up. So who's doing the callbacks on Sunday unpaid? We are.
So you guys would go out and clean up those mistakes.
100%. All day on Sunday, no time to reflect. The only time we were able to communicate with each other to push the business forward were 15-minute phone calls. What are you doing? What's going on?
Yeah,
As you know.
Okay, but like I'm starting to get excited now because you're talking about like hiring your first like office person, your first employee that you found from a diner. Keep telling me like what happened from here.
Yeah, I mean, from there, we just tested as many different things on those people to buy back our time until they kind of break. Regardless whether you know what's broken, what's not, we had to figure that out.
Yeah.
We had to overload as much work onto an admin, phone calls, scheduling, anything, just so we can get more jobs in and put more money in our pocket to afford something else. And we've burned bridges. We've kept guys from day one.
And this was all last summer? Like you're hiring your first employee and
That's
all
this
of this
year.
Like this year.
2025. Sorry.
Yeah. So you basically went from like just you two to like pretty much hiring your first employees like all within within 2025.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, summer we had probably around 15.
It's like you went from just you two within basically a year to having like 15 employees and like a legitimate operation.
In like probably 3.5 months ish.
Yeah,
Like June, July,
that's like really impressive. How did you guys like know how to move at that speed and what those right steps were?
So I have like this moment of when I realized what I needed to do. He's got a different moment, probably. But it was midsummer this year, 2025, 15 employees. I'm still working. I'm working with these guys, trying to train, manage. Total stats, we had over 40 people. Right? I had to send out 40 W-2s at the end of the year because the guys are not with us. That moment was I met this one guy at a dinner who had this media company that helps small businesses in our local town. Come to that dinner. I'm busy, right? I got to be up 6 a.m. I just worked a 15-hour shift training new people just to make sure that we did a good job. There's a lot of stuff in pressure washing we can get into later, but I met this kid. He brought me back to his office. He's got a digital marketing agency, and he drew up on a board. And on that board, he said, how do you have 15 employees and you still are not out of the business? You shouldn't be working. And I was confused. I didn't understand that. He had me write all the employees I had on one side of the board, all the tasks I do on a day-to-day basis on the left side of the board. Then he put the time each task took, ranked them on priority, and there wasn't enough time in one day, in 2 whole days, that I had to do all these tasks within 24 hours. And from there, I just started giving things to people, and I'd rather realize in that moment, I'd rather solve those problems than not solve them at all, because somebody else has to do it.
You kind of like realized the importance of delegation.
Yeah.
And you were able to see that vision because you had a mentor in a way that like laid it out visually. So it was just that simple that you could see. Without a team, without delegation, you would never be able to accomplish anything more substantial than what you currently were, right? Is that what you're pretty much getting to?
Yeah, delegation. And I think it's hard. What's unspoken is you have to fight to be able to even think about what delegation is because of that, how much is going on with the amount of people that you have. So I spoke to Zach, like you have to fight for the opportunity to have that thought.
Yeah, exactly. Like you need like the freedom to think to even realize these things. If you're out in the trucks every day, if you're doing the work, you might not ever get the opportunity to discover those high level insights. And those are the things as the owner that are the most important to lead the team. But like you said that Zach had a separate realization than that. Like that was for you. Like what was that turning point for you, Zach?
Yeah, so my turning point was really when I kind of was getting burnt out, and I look at myself as like, if something needs to get done, like it's gonna get done, and I don't care how long it's going to take me every single day. Like, I'll get it done. And so when we were getting all these leads, I'm just like 12, 15 appointments a day, which is like 12, 15 hours of quoting, assuming that like you're at someone's house for 30 minutes, you have like a 10, 20-minute conversation, you there, you quote it, you send the quote out, and then talk to them after, and then distance of traveling to the next quote. So I was doing like 12 to 15 appointments a day, just trying to keep up with the flow. At one point I broke, and I was like, I can't do this. So
Was
I'm
this,
like,
in the middle of the summer.
yeah. So it was like kind of later to the
Right
year.
before Christmas lighting.
Yeah, right
Okay.
before we got like super busy.
Yeah.
And with Christmas, yeah, I just decided to go and just start hiring or having conversations with as many people as possible. Probably did around 20, 30 interviews, found out like my ideal sales rep.
Okay.
And it's
Never
like,
seen some of these guys came to our house. You gotta keep in mind, we got 13 cars in our cul-de-sac at this time, and then just to add more and more, and he's bringing sales guys with him.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, God bless our neighbors.
Wait, so when you guys were like in this hiring mode and like
Yeah.
obviously like now you've outgrown your parents' basement, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys just moved into your warehouse like a week ago pretty much. But like were your neighbors like pissed off that you guys had like 13 cars in the cul-de-sac outside?
So
and
we have the best neighbors, just like straight up.
Yeah.
But you can definitely tell like when like the mailman can't give them their mail, you know, that they're like kind of pissed. Like it's kind of
The
important.
sticker on the window from UPS, it's like $500.
Like a fine for parking in
Yeah.
front of.
Yeah.
And they're just like, come on, guys. Like at this point, you have 5 trucks in your driveway, and like,
Wait, so you also had your company branded vehicles like in your driveway, right?
Where else
like
we put
commercial
them?
vehicles.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like
no.
if you're so
No.
lucky that you got neighbors that weren't pissed off, because literally like one neighbor could have just called the cops and you guys would have been forced to find a warehouse even if you didn't have like the financial like capabilities. That's what happened. So you guys got kind of lucky for how long you were able to pull off like an operation of this size out of like your parents' house. Like that's pretty crazy.
Absolutely. Like when it snows, like we try to like shovel the driveway, do
Yeah.
something nice. Cause when we started power washer at like 11 o'clock at night, because we need to like have it work and change the oil before the next day because we need it up and running. Yeah, it takes a toll for sure on them, I'm sure.
Going through this turning point now where you got so burnt out from quoting all these jobs on your own, like when exactly did you kind of start to put trust in other people that they could do the quoting? What time of the year was this?
Yeah, so for me, it was definitely trust too. And like
Yeah.
me in my head, it's like there's so many components, like this is complicated. But really it's like for me, like when I realized like just it's really not that complicated. Like I'm just
Repetition.
making it.
You like the one thing, it's easier to replace yourself in the work. It's a physical skill. You got to find someone with a physical skill. And I think that's one thing that we kind of saw eye to eye or didn't see eye to eye together, that not everything has to be perfect. You just need that person to
Yeah.
start and then solve that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a really good job of it the last few months, and I'm impressed with him. So
And when did you first delegate that role
November 10th.
of this?
Officially. Yeah, Lucas, man. That's when he started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like earlier you told me that like pretty much like most of like the 1.5 million in sales that you guys did in 2025 was quoted by you, Zach. So like what percentage of all those jobs was quoted by you?
Yeah, so we did 1.25 for power washing.
Okay,
So that was me.
okay.
And then Lucas, his first month, I brought him in. He closed over 100 grand for us.
Good.
And then definitely somewhere after that. So the difference was me. But yeah, I did over 2,000 quotes. It was definitely high volume, but you learn a lot all in person, people's stories.
totaled
Different-
your car twice.
Totaled?
Yeah, so I totaled it once.
Yeah.
But
Why do you think that happened? Like, is it because you were so stressed out from doing all this work that like just being in, because that happened to me actually. But I'll tell you about it. But like, what happened? Like,
yeah, so there was a certain point like throughout last year that like I was so stressed out or just in
Yeah.
general that my little physical body was just shaking. And I was like, holy shit, like that's not supposed to happen. But when I totaled my car, obviously like being the only sales guy, like you're not just going to the appointments, you're also calling, texting, following up with these people. And I was doing that while driving, and I totaled my car,
Wow.
to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually like pretty similar to what happened to me like in our first year of business. As a new entrepreneur, as a young entrepreneur, you're just jumping into an open sea and you don't know what you're getting yourself into, but you got to figure it out as you go. And I came to that same point where I was extremely overwhelmed. I had a relationship that wasn't going well at the time. I was in my first semester of college, the first 2 weeks, and like just so many things were happening. I was like looking at the GPS, and then I was like coming up to this turn where the stop sign was like hidden by some trees. Because I had all this chaos just running through my mind, like I just wasn't sharp in the moment.
Right.
And I looked at the GPS and the line was going straight. The stop sign was hidden. And I basically just like kept going on the straight line. And I basically like teed another car.
No
and
way.
I totaled their car.
Oh no.
And our dump truck was like, it was like almost totaled, but it was like a brand new truck. So it was like 80,000 of damage where the
Were you
truck.
good?
Yeah, everyone was safe. Like that's the most important part. And that was like one of the biggest failures that I think we've ever hit. And it was like one of those turning points for me, because in that moment I had to make a decision like, are we going to let this mistake define us? And are we going to quit? Are we going to say that junk removal isn't for us? Or are we going to work our asses off to pay for this? We ended up choosing that path, and I had to pay for a U-Haul for like 3 to 6 months while our truck was being repaired. And that was like 30 grand out of pocket from me, because I wasn't going to let my brother pay for that mistake, because it was my mistake. And then Jake went out every day after school, because like basically like I stopped removing junk at that point because I needed to take a break. I needed to take a step back. That was kind of a time when I wasn't really like in the business, but Jacob kept it going. And
How old were you at that point?
I was like 19 at this point.
Wow.
It was like our first or second year of business. Yeah, my brother has been a huge part of the mission until today. And that's like one of the best parts of working with a partner or working with your brother too. Like
You're always so close? Or
I would say like we grew up like exploring together, you know, having fun. We were always pretty close. But yeah, it was like during moments like this where like sometimes like I'm the fallen soldier and he kept the ship going and steering, and there's been times where he's been the same and I keep it going. And you know, like during that time where you crashed your vehicle, it's good to have a guy by your side, even your brother.
Absolutely.
It gives you that like confidence and that like security and support to, you know, push through those like almost impossible moments.
100%, yeah.
How did you overcome that moment yourself?
Yeah, so one of the things I always try to do is focus on the positive out of it.
Yeah.
You know, a big realization is that it's not feasible to be texting and driving and on the phone all the time. So that definitely initiated a really big, that initiated like a really big like change. And we were talking about delegation before. That's definitely what sparked kind of my change for the whole thing. So yeah, but it was definitely tough.
Yeah.
You definitely did a really good job.
We were on the phone when he crashed. So
Oh, you guys were on the phone.
I didn't know because
Yeah, it was his fault.
that was the whole thing. So I'm like, why is he ignoring my calls? But it was one of those calls, going back to what we were saying earlier, where you only have 15 minutes to speak to each other, right? But you're just so busy. It just happened to be one of during those calls. But you know, I forgave him. You know, we're gonna work extra hard.
Did you like hit another car, or like did you drive into a ditch? Like
I don't know. Well, yeah, what was it?
Yeah, so I think at the time on the highway that I was driving on, there was like a sinkhole. So I didn't drive in the sinkhole.
Yeah, okay.
But what happened was that there's a lot of traffic and that they're like redirecting it. So when I was driving, like it was like a dead stop on a highway, not expecting that at all. And then I literally tried to brake essentially and swerve out of the way when they were dead stop. And then I like hit the car like almost straight on. Yeah.
Yeah, but was everyone safe? Everyone was okay, or?
He was alone, so he was in one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
I mean, the most important thing is that everyone's okay. Because that's like out of my accident, my mistake, everyone was okay. And I think that's a blessing from God. You know, like it's a mistake you make as a early entrepreneur, but when people get hurt, it's a whole nother level But yeah, I'm happy you're able to get through it. But so that's obviously like a dark time and like a mistake that you learned from. But like now what's on the other side of that? It made you realize that you had to delegate. And like how many employees were you even at the time that you had this crash, and then what happened next?
Yeah, we're like 15, and then we had one person in the office.
Okay.
That was before we hired Kayla, which is one of our overseas people. So we took that route too. She's from Costa Rica.
Yeah, so you guys hired your office staff, you're telling me. So like when did you even know that that was the right move, that you needed to, like, you hired first somebody in person, you hired someone overseas next? Like how did you even know to do that?
The overseas or the first admin?
The overseas.
The overseas.
Yeah.
So we hired our just regular admin in person first. We actually didn't find out about overseas until we met with one of our friends who has a digital marketing agency, and that's like all of his employees are overseas.
Okay.
But yeah, how did we know to get an admin? It was really just being able to pick up the phone, and I believe Google like ranks you based off of like your pickup rate. So that was like all we were thinking about. Like we got to answer every call.
Yeah.
And at one point like we just couldn't. So it was the right move for us, we felt.
Yeah, the most relatable thing is just working in the field, trying to train somebody, and then you get a call from a client that you have to put into your CRM.
Yeah.
And I just needed to eliminate that. So that's how we knew right then and there. I had more time to train.
But like,
yeah.
what next steps did you take after you realized that like your parents' basement was not going to be enough?
So the next steps we took after the pressure washing season were like, we need to keep our guys busy, that we promised a full year of work. So
Yeah,
that's
that's a
how we
big-
decided Christmas lighting.
That's a big stressor. Like you have all these guys that like, you know, you're now building a team, and it's your first time realizing that like, how are you going to keep those guys instead? Because like, you know, they could just go, if you can't keep them busy, they're just going to go find something else. And you're telling me now like you decided to add Christmas lighting because you said you can't do pressure washing in the winter, right?
Correct. You
Yeah.
can limited.
Yeah, it's pretty limited. So yeah, explain this Christmas lighting thing, because one thing I've realized in business is that if you try to do everything, you can't be the best at one thing. But in your guys' situation, it does kind of sound like, you know, this offset might be a pretty smart play. And I want to hear more about like, how did you guys know that Christmas lighting was your thing, and how it's your first year doing it, right?
Yeah.
So like, how has that gone?
Yeah, so it's gone well, or it went well, kind of the first season.
Okay.
And we learned so much.
Yeah.
Funny enough, how we really took it was like, we have to offer a service. And so we went to the guys, we're like, all right, this is what we're doing. We don't know how to do it. And
Yeah.
we're very transparent like that. We're like, hey guys, like if I don't know something, I'm gonna let them know I don't know it. You know, like I'm not gonna put on a mask and be like, hey, like this is how it is, just because I think it is based off of the limited like information I have.
Yeah.
So we took them all to a training course that
in Long Island. So it's like hour and a half drive. We brought our best guys.
Okay.
We're there learning what a Christmas light bulb is. We have no idea.
Wait, how did you
Installed
find
next
this training course that you took them to?
Just Google.
it was like online. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Christmas light training near me.
That's so niche. Like, I'm surprised that there's just like someone out there that like trains employees how to install Christmas lighting.
So were we, yeah. But it was like a supplier, and then
Okay.
and it was like great. So we're like top 6 guys. We brought them all. We got there. It was like we didn't know, like I think there was a limit to the amount of people you could bring,
Yeah.
but they let us all in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
It was so abnormal to them because they were like, why are these people so passionate? Because they're teaching the average Joe, hey, how to go in, do an install, make some money. They could have landscaping or a different company, right?
Yeah.
And we were like, we're all in. What kind of truck do we need? Do we need a towable boom? Do we need a bucket truck? And they're like, who are these guys? I'm like, we're just here to learn.
Yeah, and then these guys embodied it. They learned how to wrap trees, unwrap it, wrap things up so you can take it down in like a faster way.
Okay.
So we did that. We learned the ins and outs for pricing wise. Like we underquote so many jobs and like realized it like mid season, raise our pricing, and then it was like more comfortable. But we're still kind of learning the whole takedown process now.
So did these guys even teach you how to do the pricing?
They had a program on it. They ran
Yeah.
us through general.
So is this company like that you worked with, are they used to teaching like homeowners or businesses? Like because
Businesses,
okay.
but they supply lights.
Okay.
So
okay.
we got the lights from them.
Yeah. That makes sense. And Yeah, so you said that they were surprised by how passionate you guys were, and like, I'm sure it sounds like you were excited. One thing that I think is really smart is taking your best guys to do this, because what happens is like they're gonna train the other guys. I'm sure you guys probably thought of that, but like, you know, if your best guys are at the top, you know, like you kind of work your way down the funnel, and you know, the other guys that might not have made it, they're now gonna have 6 other guys that can train them. So
Definitely.
that was a smart move.
Yeah.
And then so you got trained up and everything, and then you just got right into it.
Yeah. We just started, we created one ad, one video.
Okay.
It was like Christmas lights on my neck, and then targeted it towards our county, and
Yeah.
it took off. People were filling out the form. We started calling them. We said, we'll do it.
Okay, so
Come in.
yeah, that's my question. My next question is, how did you like start marketing Christmas lighting? Because you've built a pressure washing business. Now it's like you're adding a whole new service. It's like your customers don't even know you do that. Like, how did you just go from nothing to now something here for your guys?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it was really because we don't have a presence on Google for Christmas lighting specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just Google ads, Facebook ads, not really any lawn signs or anything, because I got the wrong size, unfortunately. And then
We were so much smaller than what we needed.
Wait, so you like ordered yard signs for this, but then you realized that they were all the wrong size?
really small, like really small. So we just stuck them up on people's houses. But yeah, we just texted and emailed all of our clients that we had for power washing, and
Probably got like 10 people out of that.
Okay.
That's where we started. It's the most
That's
common
smart.
place to start. And then Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, so you like used your previous client base, and then you ran some paid ads, and then word of mouth. And did you do door knocking or anything, or?
we did not.
Nope.
Okay. All right, yeah. So then is that like pretty much everything you did to start getting customers now for Christmas lighting?
Yeah. And it just compounded. Then some people called us.
Yeah.
So we added that page to our site. And then we just did as many estimates as possible.
Okay.
And we went even a step further. And we're like, what if we did these online? So he's not driving around all the time.
Yeah.
And I'll leave the floor to you, because that, I don't even know how he made that possible.
Yeah, we like switched the whole thing to online estimates, which like
For Christmas lighting, you
Christmas
did?
lighting.
And a brand new service.
Did that work?
Yeah, it actually did. I was
No,
so shocked.
honestly, I'm like
Yeah.
so surprised, because like in-home service, giving quotes in person and pricing in person is like really important. I want to know how that went. You said it worked?
Yeah, it worked, and honestly, I was really shocked. And it actually worked in my eyes better than doing in person,
Oh, okay.
because you can kind of visualize it. And when I mean online, I mean Google Meet. So we put everyone into a meet,
okay.
and then you can kind of share your screen, mock up their house, show them examples, and kind of upsell there.
That's kind of smart. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just one thing. We're just like, let's just try it, see if it works,
There's software, Jolly Light, so you can literally draw the lights on the people's homes, add the wreaths when they know the color. And we were just like, got to make it happen.
That's actually
Yeah.
sick. So can you like explain to me the pricing system for Christmas lights? Because it must be very systemized if you can do the whole thing online.
Yeah, it's like very systemized, and it's pretty easy. It's like, what's your price per this size wreath? What's like your linear footage? Like, what do you charge per linear foot on the house?
Okay.
And then same thing for like bows, garland, and kind of like we do like walkway and bushes and trees. So pretty easy. Yeah.
And that's where our arguments stemmed from, because we realized trees are a lot harder to quote than any other tree. Trees have the
Yeah.
length of the tree, the width. We figured
Every
that out.
tree is different. You can measure a roof and like kind of get a good idea of what a roof's going to be like,
Yeah.
but a tree's got branches and height and all the, you never know. You can't predict a tree.
Yeah. They use like the street view. So like the trees have leaves on them, and now they don't.
So then how do you like price a tree in that case if it's online?
We were going like by how high, like the height of the tree,
Okay.
and then like really that's what we were doing the entire year. So we probably lost money on a lot of trees because like
Yeah.
some were wide, some have a lot of leaves, some don't.
Yeah.
And that all affects pricing.
But like, how do you measure a tree on a Google Meet to give them a price for that?
Yeah, we were kind of just looking at it and they're like, that's probably like 20 feet.
Yeah, door's like 6 feet high, and then you're kind of able to guess from there. That's at least what I would think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit more accurate than that. So like door, I think is around 6 foot. You can kind of go based off of proportions and then
Okay.
use that and be like, okay, this is like 4 doors high. It's 24 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also kind of curious about the pressure washing pricing. I know we like briefly talked about it, but what is your system for pricing the pressure washing too?
Yeah. So right now it's changed because we're going through that period where it's like we have time to like develop systems and really
And
launch them.
you said that you sold like 1.2 million of your pressure washing this year. So probably a lot of that was like in your head, not as systemized, and you just started to delegate that. So you're probably still developing it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like
But like
to a T.
as far as you have developed it, what does that look like now?
Yeah, so right now we do packages. So we kind of group things together and we do like if you clean everything, if you clean most things, if you clean some things, and we just present the packages, and I think it's gonna work. Honestly, I'm not too sure, but hopefully it does, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying like you might have like a patio and like measurements of the patio, or you have like a mailbox, or you have a shed, and each one of those things you kind of have like a certain range that you'll kind of go off of based on the sizing. And is that kind of how you do it?
Yeah, it's like small, medium, large, because like how large I guess a walkway could be.
Yeah.
So we go kind of based off of that, sheds, houses.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's just like how much trust we have in each other because I'm learning this in real time. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I know and I have to focus on how to do it the right way. Well, he just tells me, hey, this is what it costs.
How much of like what you researched has gone into your current pricing system versus what you've innovated?
It's kind of 50-50. It really depends on like software you're using and yeah, it's probably 50-50 just what you learn because it really depends on the area. You know,
Yeah.
in Florida, I think it's a lot like cheaper for a house or
Yeah, it's way
patio.
more competitive. Just the price of bleach. That's what we use for pressure washing.
Mhm.
It kills the green stuff on the house. It's just
Yeah.
super competitive down there. Everyone, their neighbor and their neighbor's kid does it down there
Wait, so you're saying a lot of people do pressure washing in your area?
in Florida. Now,
Oh, in
yeah,
Florida,
more
okay.
competitors are coming up, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just more competitive down there. So the pricing is very different across the nation.
Okay.
So we had to kind of call competitors and figure out kind of where we stood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that I'm very curious about right now is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that the riches are in the niches. So if you try to be the best at everything, you can never master a certain direction. But you guys have the Christmas lights and the pressure washing, and it makes complete sense that you have to keep your guys busy in the winter. But have you guys found that it's a distraction, or do you think that it works out really well?
Yeah, so I think personally that it complements each other really well.
Okay.
But where you can kind of sidetrack is if you offer like gutter cleaning or window cleaning with pressure washing because you're technically cleaning a house.
Yeah.
That for us is like that's a whole nother business in itself. Whole nother thing you have to train, whole nother thing you have to learn, price out. So we kind of just stick with this.
We learned that a lot this year. Just what is pressure washing? Because people clean
Yeah.
the inside of the gutters. We don't do that.
Okay.
We don't even do window washing. There's window washing companies. We had to learn. We didn't want to spread ourselves too thin with the training.
That's really smart, to be honest, because like especially in the very beginning, you guys are like in your first serious year. Like it's very easy to get like you see all these little opportunities in front of you, and it's like, oh, like gutter cleaning, we're already there. The guys are already there. Why not just have them do it? But that's a really smart move that you guys are like, yeah, that's not pressure washing. That's a completely different thing.
Yeah, it took a while to learn, I'll
If
tell
you
you.
kind of
Yeah.
focus on trying to eliminate them. Like sometimes we needed windows. Like we did window cleaning all last year. It was helped us put some more money in our pocket to make another investment.
We spent $4,000 on a Ford F-150 that had a cracked frame that we didn't even know.
Wow.
And we were doing moving, junk removal, landscaping
Oh,
in our
wow.
first year because we were doing anything we could to make money. And it sounds like that's kind of what it was like in your first year.
Yeah.
Anything and everything.
Yeah. And then like, okay, so now I'm curious if that's what it was like in your first year. When did you realize that pressure washing was that niche that you wanted to stick with?
So we have access to one of the best suppliers who are 45 minutes away. They basically founded pressure washing. That's how knowledgeable this guy is. he got struck by lightning. He delivers us chemical. He's a very interesting guy. You were to picture one guy who delivers us chemical, probably got struck by lightning.
Yeah.
But great family. They're family-owned business. They taught us anything and everything outside from every little piece that's on those machines.
Okay.
How to do the job the right way, how much chemicals to use, how much chemicals not to use, when to use chemicals, when not to use chemicals. So we learned a lot from them.
So you guys kind of had like a pretty serious mentor in the pressure washing space that gave you a lot of that insider information that it's a family business. They've dedicated their life to it. They know every little in and out. And what might have taken them 40 years plus or whatever to learn, you guys learned in just a few times talking to them. So that really defined that path for you, is what you're saying, having that mentor.
Absolutely. And one piece of advice like we learned throughout the process is like, if someone's been in it for that long, you know, it's like kind of surrendering and like taking their advice, even though you may think like your way may be better, but like you just kind of started. And then for us, it was just doing that, listening, and then realizing that they were right.
Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. And
yeah,
we're here to learn and listen.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like when you get that first taste of success, it almost feels like you know what the right direction is. Learning to kill that ego and trust when somebody is in a better place than you, that they have that direction. Like that's kind of a hard thing to do. I've gone through that myself. Like when we first started, like we had these guys that like showed us how to do junk removal. I used to work for them and they showed me the ropes. So that gave us like more of a head start in that direction than all these other services. But then as we got into junk removal, there was this guy on YouTube named like Steve Conroy. He stopped making YouTube videos as soon as our business started to take off. I'm assuming that like we started to take a lot of his work and he didn't have time to like do the YouTube anymore. But like we used to watch all of his videos and a lot of the stuff he talked about was like directly applicable in our service area, because just like pressure washing is different in every state, so is junk removal.
Right.
So we kind of like picked up on that stuff. And there were other guys like that from the beginning that we were able to get in contact with that actually gave us that same head start. And it's another reason why we picked junk removal as our niche.
Maybe wish he told you about the CRM thing sooner.
Yeah, literally, like that's crazy. Yeah, it was like 3 years into the business that we started using a CRM, and until that point it was all Apple Notes.
Wow.
And then how much rev did you guys do on Apple Notes?
Yeah, on literally like using Apple Notes as our schedule from a day to day, with that being the only software we used, we did like 1.3 million in that year.
Wow.
And that was like, we have YouTube videos of us like going through our day in the life doing this.
Yeah.
But like my brother would just like get a call from a customer, collect the information, make like a little line on Apple Notes, and then we would like throw them all in a line, and then he would copy and paste that and send it to our employees.
From the classroom?
Yeah, he would do that in school. Like we were doing this shit like in school, like before he would go to bed, like any little second of free time. We didn't even know to ask like what kind of softwares we could use, because we didn't really know that like hands-on business, how powerful a software could be. We thought that our little Apple Notes strategy was better than using a CRM because it was more simple.
Yeah.
As soon as we started using the CRM, our business went from like that 1.3 with Apple Notes to 3 million in 1 year. And that's the power of organization and systems. And obviously like, because we have such an electric culture and really smart guys around us, we were able to like take some impossible system and make 1.3 mil with that, just because of how good our guys were. You guys are in like your first serious year of business and you guys are already doing so many things right. It took us like way longer to figure that stuff out. So now that makes me curious, what is next for you guys? Like, I first want to clarify. So like you pretty much went from two brothers like hustling to hiring your first employee and going all the way up to like 12 and 15 employees with all within 2025, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you started 2025, just you guys, and now you have like this full team and serious business going, right?
Yeah, we're paying rent now.
Yeah, yeah.
Buying office supplies.
That's like insane to me. That's why I wanted to like have you guys on the podcast, because like hearing that is like, that's like crazier than anything that we ever did. Like honestly, like to do it that quick. But like, I'm very curious, what is next? What's in 2026?
Yeah, Zach, what are our goals?
So it's exciting to talk about because like just doing this whole process, it's we just have such unrealistic expectations for ourselves. But for some reason, like if we just like it just kind of it's been working, you know, so we'll just stick with it. But our goal for next year, this upcoming year, is we want to do like 4.5 in revenue.
Shoot for the stars, land on the moon.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah,
we have the
hopefully,
same-
hopefully we dunk the stars this year. But seriously, because my plan is to have about 3 to 5 sales guys.
25 technicians during the peak time.
Yeah,
Getting like tingles right now. I'm like fired up.
yeah.
Yes.
So this is the first year we're actually going to be calling on property managers and going into that commercial space.
Okay.
So my plan is to have about 2-3 sales guys just for that, and then we have a next level that we're doing with residential that we have our amazing film guy for.
Yeah. And the equipment. I love the equipment. I'm sorry, I talk about the equipment all the time.
Equipment's awesome. No, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, so we have box truck now. We got our first box truck in August. Thanks to Isuzu, makes the best trucks in the world. We can carry 900 gallons of water. We can wash longer. We can wash quicker. So we can wash big apartment complexes. We can do HOAs. We can wash condominiums. We can do parking lots,
Parking garages.
parking garages, parking garage
Hospitals.
structures, hospital, all of it. We can wash the biggest and best stuff. And one of the biggest companies in the nation, Rolling Suds, the biggest pressure washing company, that's they're pretty close with our suppliers. So we're able to get all of that knowledge and apply it. So we know what truck to get, and we're ready to rock and roll. So I love it.
So you guys have your first Isuzu right now?
Yeah.
Your first big truck? Are you planning to buy more this year?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
like to hit like those numbers, you're going to need obviously more guys, but like the equipment too.
Yeah. So about 3 to 4 more of those
Wow.
is the plan.
Are you going to finance those or like pay them?
Yeah, we're gonna have to pay. We're gonna have to finance those. Everything we have now is cash, just because we couldn't really get like a loan,
Yeah.
just because of.
How new we are.
That's like the way we did it too. I mean, we haven't financed anything at all yet.
Ah, congrats, by the way, because
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Because we got 5 Isuzus now. We're about to order our 6th.
Wow.
All in cash because we've grown slow. You guys are in this fast mode, and there's different strategies in business. Just because you finance your trucks from here on out, like honestly, to go to 4.5 without financing all in a year, I don't fully see a vision that that's possible. So I don't see anything wrong with this. But yeah, tell me more. Like you're gonna get 4 of these things, 4 more trucks.
Yeah, and luckily we also have any other service in the winter, Christmas lighting.
Yeah.
We're gonna have about 3 or 4 more of those, hopefully, and yeah, that's the goal. You know, we got a
We have
nice little
vans,
plan
too.
for
So
it.
we do paver sanding and sealing. So we install polymeric sand. and
Okay.
We apply sealant on top of them. So we do big driveways, patios. So that's one thing we have on top of the
Okay.
box trucks as well. That bottle is so cool.
Yeah. No, the other side too.
It's part of the metal. Oh,
It's ingrained into the.
Yeah, that's
the
what
bottom.
that's what Lucas and Jonah got. I don't know, Lucas and Zach.
there's more,
Yeah,
besides. They got the basic level. Still
Yeah.
appreciate it, right?
But yeah, like on the Yeti website, you can literally like order any like custom like product that they have, and they basically laser engrain your custom design into it. So I had a
Yeah.
graffiti artist design this part right here just to add like some more like design, and then basically I put my name on it. But for all the guys that just moved into my house with me, I got them this as a gift. You know, like when you're out in the trucks, especially in the summer, you're drinking a lot of water. I think to have this like cool branded stuff, all those little details makes a difference. Is that like everything that you guys have in store for this year? What did you say? 4.5 mil is what
Yeah,
you're
that's the
shooting
goal.
for?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a crazy goal, but I believe that you guys can hit that. And especially if you put yourself in the right rooms with the right people to start shaping your mind to think on that level, I totally think you guys can hit it. What else besides trucks and guys do you think you're going to need to hit that this
Yeah,
year?
it's definitely the relationships, because a good chunk of it's going to come from commercial. So it's spending the time to really develop and meet people and see how we can provide them value. And of course with that, like cold calling and just doing high volume with really either trained sales guys or just having a system that like does follow up for us as well, which we never really had. Or calling a customer asking for referrals at the end, or one of your guys had a great idea of like having them take a picture in front of the truck and post it on like a Facebook group chat. So that to me is like, that's just another way of like how to make our goal possible. So right when I get home, like I'm gonna be implementing that. But it's definitely like cold call, and then it's high volume in ads, and
and definitely becoming better people, just as brothers. Just trying to work on a relationship. And
this will be the first year like I'm able to kind of work on the business, because I've been like completely in it. And the last 3 months, like we went from not using Go High Level,
didn't have an office admin.
We didn't have like legit office admin. Now we have 2, and that's gonna be our next constraint, is office as well. So just staying on top of the ball and moving things as things come up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really just elevating the team all around. Another thing that you did mention is like the Facebook review strategy, or just like the review strategy in general that I told you guys. This is like a very valuable review strategy. I'm just going to give this to the audience real quick, because I know you mentioned it. But with customers, and this works with like almost any home service, you basically like at the end of the job, ask them to take a picture of you next to the truck that they're going to put in the Google review. And obviously you only want to ask when it went well. But yeah, basically like when the job's done, you have them take a photo of you next to your truck. And then not everyone writes the review when you ask them to, but this is where the photo comes in as your tool. And you basically use that as leverage to get them to actually write the review, because they've already said yes to taking a photo of you in their mind. So when you follow up with them like a week later, after you've seen that they haven't wrote the review, they still have that photo in their camera roll. And when you ask them to post the review with that photo, it's like significantly higher chance that they're going to write the review, because in their mind, they've already said yes to taking that photo. So that basically means that they've already said yes to writing the review, and that photo reminds them of that yes. The ratio of like reviews that we actually get up with the photo method is better, like significantly higher. But it's not only that, but the quality of the review too. Having photos in your reviews is like, the platforms rank that higher for SEO. So like it's a win-win-win.
I'm sure you guys get calls all the time. I see your reviews. I see how great you guys are. You're so personable.
Yeah.
And they're already excited to work with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
But-
I did read your reviews, by the way. Great reviews.
But I'm curious, like, is it ingrained in your culture? Like every guy's like, hey,
Yeah.
I really want to get a review, because we pay our guys for reviews. I just want to know.
So that's a great question. It's like a part of the system that we've built. Like you said, the incentive. Like not only in every company meeting do we mention, guys, we got to get these reviews up. But we have these little systems where like, all right, guys, if we hit 2,000 Google reviews by the end of February, we're all going to go out to Fogo de Chao, which is like a really nice steakhouse. So we'll hit these little like team goals.
Wow.
But then on top of that, it's like you said, the incentive. $3 for every review you get. Imagine if you're out there and you get 10 reviews during your day, it's another $30. So like if they're making on average 25 to 30 an hour, that bumps up their pay another $3 an hour. So like, you know, if I'm out there in the trucks, I'm thinking of how can I maximize what I'm earning, and just having that in the back of their head with that incentive definitely has an impact.
Right.
Yeah.
Win-win.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm like so hyped for you guys to see what's next and what you guys do this year. But I also just have some more like general questions about your business now. Now that I've heard your story, there's like a few things that I want to know. What would you guys say was like your biggest failure? Maybe you guys each have your own, but what was your biggest failure and what did you learn from that?
I think my biggest failure this year, personally, was leadership through hiring friends and family, especially in 2025, earlier in the year. To attract better people, if you want them to be better employees, to do better work, serve the customer, you have to become a better person. And to be honest, I wasn't that great of a person. I had to start and ask myself why. 9 times out of 10, you know who you need to become if you just ask yourself, how do I get there? And I started step by step, picking myself apart, trying to become the best leader I possibly can. And I knew that's how I attract top 8 player talent.
Definitely. And for me, aside from the whole car incident, for me it was very similar. Just working on yourself. It's like you got to realize like that there are moments, and for me, like there were moments that I could have handled better, and definitely losing top talent. But I definitely wasn't the person who I was, and there were definitely moments that made me realize like, just am I in a reactive state, or am I in a controlled mindset to either answer someone's question or tailor to their needs? And as a business owner, as I now am, more so than like an employee, it's that you have to tailor all of the stress, all of the headache, and all the vision you have for the company down, and almost like forget about it to have conversation with people. And even if it's something that like they found out certain customer is complaining or whatever that kind of ticks you, is like you have to just like take a deep breath, handle that. And for me, I would classify like not being able to handle those certain situations that I wanted to handle them that certain way. Like I just didn't do it properly. And for me, that's a big failure, because we've definitely lost some people that, we wish we have right now along this journey, and they'd fit perfect in the culture we're trying to build. But unfortunately.
And what would you say are like the best things that you can do as a business owner to keep the best people around?
Number one for me is paint a big picture that they can fit their vision in, so they can understand where they fit. Second thing is just appreciate them. Praise them in front of everybody. Reward them for being a good person. And the last thing would be one-on-one coaching, which I just had my first, believe it or not, one-on-one meeting with the guy who's been with us since March. I learned a lot from that conversation. I recorded on my phone. I'm super excited to go through it. But it would be to give constructive criticism as a third thing in private, and learn from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, like literally almost everything you just said is exactly what I talked about with Stefano when I had him on the podcast, Stefano Narducci. He said something that like made me think differently. He was like, create a vision so big that other people can fit their dreams inside of it. That's exactly what you just said.
Really?
Yeah. Like you just said it in different words, same exact thing.
Yeah.
And I agree, like to keep the best, like you have to dream big, because if you want to have other big dreamers and other big players around, you have to dream so big that they can see themselves working with you and still achieving their goals.
It's almost like they're not concerned about the role. They're main concern and their goal is to be like, hey, where is the company trying to go? Because the last thing you want to do is have them dream bigger than you. It won't ever be a perfect fit.
And an earlier thing you said about always trying to find efficiencies in your day, I'm like that, like to a very high degree. And to your point of giving criticism and stuff, sometimes my expectations are just so high, and frankly it could be unrealistic, especially to someone else's either work ethic or how they operate. And for me, it's like realizing that and then having that conversation, and in a way where you kind of just, you have to realize like, or for me, like I realized that when I was doing quotes, like how hard it is and so much of like what goes into it. And then also considering that when talking to somebody about either picking up their work ethic or working harder,
It doesn't
etc.
have to be super high level, right?
Yeah.
Go Google best one-on-one coaching questions. Ask yourself those questions and start from there. Any question asked, what someone's at least done before, is better than not having a question at all, not even having the meeting. It's actually doing and taking the action, which is how we grew so fast, and screw everything else, right? Like just get it done, get the experience points.
Yeah. We're still learning. That's what we know.
Yeah. And another thing that I realized, because like I was asking, what do you do to keep the best people around? One thing that I've learned is you can't always please everybody. You can't always keep everybody. And one of the most important things is expectations. Like somebody might join your team, but they expect themselves to be making a certain amount of money or doing a certain thing within a certain amount of time. And if you can't fully shape that vision for them within the company, like sometimes it's not always a great fit. Like maybe you were working at a job once and maybe a boss saw you as an A player, but you knew that you wanted to start your own business someday. That's obviously not a good long-term fit. And there might be guys that are A players that come around where they aren't the best long-term fit and you can't always keep them. But that's also a part of growing the business, that you just have to realize that not everyone is going to perfectly mold into your vision and dream. And that's okay. Because you want to have a team where everybody's fully bought in. That's going to make every person on the team work better together. That's what's going to bring people together versus one guy who might be a great worker, but maybe he takes one of the guys on your team and goes and starts his own little operation. But like, it's good to have people that align and understanding their expectations of where they want to be and making sure that aligns with your future. That's another important part of keeping the best, is what I found. There's one last question I have for you guys, and it's, what piece of advice would you give to the 18-year-old version of yourself when you were just starting out?
Just because you sucked at art class doesn't mean you're not creative. I was always told I wasn't creative. I always told myself I wasn't the most social person in high school. Grateful I have a brother now that I can communicate with and learn and talk about those past experiences. But wasn't great in school. Always told I wasn't creative. I was a straight thinker and turned out to be completely wrong. I could paint a rainbow across a giant board and tell people that's where we're going.
There's different ways of getting to the same result. And just because somebody tells you that you can't get there doing it their way, it doesn't mean that you can't find a way to get there, or you can't find out who you are and how it's going to work for you. So I completely agree with that. That's a really, really good quote. And what about you?
I would tell myself to zoom out, because for me personally, you can get caught up in the day-to-day. What fires can I burn out right now? But if you don't constantly remind yourself of the trajectory that you're on, your path can be 30 degrees to the left, and then all of a sudden, like, it takes you 5 times as long to realize, and then you're gonna have to shift back. So I would say zoom out and then zoom back in, but always keep that in the back of your head, that your trajectory of where you want to go matters the most.
That's it for this episode, and thank you guys. This was amazing, and your story is incredible, and keep it up. Like, I believe in you guys, and I'm excited to see what you do this year. But where can people find you?
They could find us at Gallo Bros Power Washing. Also, stay tuned. We're starting the Gallo Bros show.
Yes.
Awesome.
Personals would be Zach Gallo Bros or
Nick at Gallo Bros.
All right, I'll link that in the description here. You guys can check that out, but subscribe if you want to see more podcast episodes like this with young blue-collar entrepreneurs. And yeah, that's it for today. Thank you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Very much.
Thank you.